Well, today on Whisky Business, we're going to see how we handle our peat. Let's get down to business. Hey guys, I'm Evan.
I'm Levi.
Welcome to Whisky Business and the first episode of our format change. We're super excited to get started. Levi, what have you brought for us today?
Well, today it's all about peat and it's all about smokiness and flavour profiles. This is how I like to drink my whiskey, as you will come to know, as Evan's found out throughout doing many a whiskey tasting with me. Today I brought along the Octomore 7.1.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a little bit of background on this because I think it's really important to understand where it comes from, what they're trying to do with the Octomore range. So this is from the house of Brookladdick, which we have the classic laddie just back here. That's kind of what they're renowned for, a very distinct and iconic bottle that everybody knows.
Yeah.
So this is a whiskey from the Islay region of Scotland. We're not going to do too much on the regions, but it's important to understand that's one of the southwestern islands. It's renowned basically for peated whiskies. That's what they do. That's what they are known for. The 7.1 is part of the Brookladdick Octomore range. So Brookladdick has got the Brookladdick range, the Octomore range has got a couple of other ones as well. Essentially, this is a 1.1 through to, I think they're at 10.2 or 10.3 now, and it's basically year by year they release a new one. They're just all about peat, smoke, all of that bold flavour profile, which I guess is kind of iconic of the Islay region and certainly something that you think of when you think of Scottish whiskies. The 7.1 is aged for 5 years. It's aged in American oak barrels and it has a ppm, which is parts per million phenol, of 208. So it's pretty eye-watering when you put it in that comparison. For comparison, a pretty smoky, peaty whiskey that people know of is probably something like the Ardbeg. That's got about a 50 to 55, depending on which one you're having. We talked about Indian whiskies in our last episode, which was where we talked about ppm for the first time. You said they had a
20 to 25
range.
I'm also just going to quickly correct you on the pronunciation of Ardbeg.
Ardbeg.
Just because otherwise our two viewers will go crazy in the comments.
All the people that know whiskies.
Yeah.
So essentially this is about ppm. It is important to note when you're talking about smoky, peaty whiskies, it's really important that the ppm isn't the be all and end all. It is a measure and it's something that you can certainly look at, but it's about balancing the flavours, getting the smoke right, getting the fire right, getting the right mix of barrel, getting some wood in there as well. So you can have the world's peatiest whiskey in the world, but if all you're getting is peat, it's probably going to taste like garbage. So this one doesn't. You're not super excited.
I don't know if this camera is good enough to really track the fear in my eyes, but yeah, let's do it.
Bottoms up.
Bottoms up.
Be fair to say it smacks you in the face on the nose.
Yeah.
It smells a little bit like medicine. There's no getting around that.
I have to say that middle scent is actually really nicely balanced. You do get a little bit more flavour than that peat. You guys might notice that when we sniff our whiskies, we actually sniff it in 3 places in the glass. We learnt this from a good friend of ours in the show, Thelma, who's really, her knowledge on whiskey far outclasses ours.
Easily.
And she showed us that when you're sniffing whiskey, you sniff it in 3 places to actually get different flavour profiles.
Top of the glass?
So the top of the glass is generally where you get most of your, majority of your flavour. So in this case, you get a lot of the peat up there. With the Paul John from the last episode, a lot of the spice and the sweetness was in that.
Yep.
The middle of it is where you get a balance between the flavours and the alcohol content around here. And then at the bottom is really where you get to smell that alcohol content and see how harsh it is.
So on the bottom of the nose for this one, it basically smells a little bit like a mix between methylated spirits and Dettol.
To me, it smells like bacon.
Like bacon?
Yeah, like smoky bacon.
I'm not getting any.
No? Okay, just me.
Don't let the nose fool you though. This is all in the flavour.
Yeah.
And the nose is very, very harsh. That's delicious.
That's definitely the most animated face I've made on this show.
Yeah, so look, bottom line, there's a lot of fire, there's a lot of heat, it burns your tongue a little bit, might burn the hairs off the inside of your nostril if you're not careful. It's peat, it is smoky, it is peaty. That to me is almost like chewing on a steak.
It is. Yeah.
This to me, I found it the easiest way to describe it to people that don't drink a lot of whiskey. This is the difference between drinking beer and drinking Guinness.
Yeah.
They're the same sort of thing, and the flavour profiles are sort of similar, and you can get bits and pieces of one from the other.
Yeah.
But if you sit down and have a Guinness, you know you're drinking a Guinness.
This is pretty much just like shoving your head into a charcoal bar.
Yeah, the charcoal is definitely one of the flavor profiles. Isn't that's there for sure.
Look, despite my face, it's actually quite nice.
It is.
But it is.
It's harsh.
It's very harsh, and it doesn't feel right going into your mouth to me. But once you get there and you get past it, and you actually get that balance of the smoke and the fire, it's actually really nice. I can't fault it.
And amazingly, for something that does have a fairly harsh flavour profile, and I love it. It is a unique and sort of individual thing that you will either like or you will not like. If you do like peat, I love that. I think it's fantastic. But in spite of that, it's not harsh to drink. No. As in, once you actually swallow it and it goes down, the heat doesn't burn you to a crisp. It's actually just, it's quite gentle.
It's quite gentle.
Compared to a lot of other whiskies that we've had. I'd say that's more gentle.
What ends up sticking around is a bit more of a tingle on your tongue. Like, it's still kind of there for me. Like, my tongue's still very kind of...
And you've still got the warm heart and you've still got the warm throat. So that's made for a cold, bitterly windy and icy area of Scotland, and that's exactly what it's for. It warms you up because that's how it works.
I think we're going to hit a whiskey business first. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish my glass, but I'm sure Levi will be glad to finish it for me.
I'll take both, that's for
Absolutely.
sure. Going to do a couple of little drops of water. In the meantime, also going to mention that Talisker has got 30 to 40 ppm as well, so that's another whiskey that's sort of known for being peaty. Outside of that, if you're a peat man or a woman, obviously, we don't discriminate here.
Peat drinker.
The Masterclass 8.3, which is another one in the Octomore range, has got a pretty staggering ppm of 309. So we're going from a 30 to 40 for a Talisker to 208 for this to 309 for the Masterclass 8.3. You can imagine how much peatier that is.
Yeah.
I've not had the joy of trying the Masterclass.
No.
I don't imagine Evan will ever want to.
Brookladdick, if you want to send us a bottle, we'll be glad to review it for you.
And I'm not above being bored. If you want to send me one, that's probably going to get a 10 out of me.
A lot lighter on the nose.
Dulls it a lot, yeah. It's still a pretty bold nose.
Oh yeah.
But with the water, it is a lot lighter than it was.
That's a lot easier to drink for me.
It opens up a bunch of different flavours as well. It's not just smoke now. There's a little bit of spice there.
A little bit of spice. And I think that's what I was getting on the front of the tongue, but I couldn't tell because of all of the smoke.
Yeah.
All of that peaty flavour. There is actually quite a nice spiciness to it. No sweetness at all.
No,
I have to say.
No,
Like,
it doesn't. This is not running with the toffee, caramel, vanilla kind of things that a lot of whiskies and a lot of scotches do. This is just about smoke, and I think if you're talking about trying to pair it with something in terms of it's a steak. That's about all you're ever going to want to drink that.
I think I've said this to you that I would love to use it in like a pulled pork recipe.
Yeah.
And I think that would be amazing. Just that lovely charcoal flavour, like with some pork and something, and that would be utterly amazing.
But that is,
however,
rich.
No,
rich sort of foods. Don't do that because this one's a bit more expensive than some of the whiskies you have been doing.
Probably something you want to keep a palate cleanser nearby with if it's not something you're used to drinking as well.
Yeah.
Like just some nice water. I could see this going well with maybe something sweet like an orange.
Yeah, I'm not sure. For me, I probably wouldn't, just because I like committing to one particular type of flavour. I could see wanting to do things differently, but I think that Talisker was something that we've been told previously pairs really well with oysters. We haven't done an oyster and whiskey night, but I think that we probably should.
We've done oyster and whiskies once at our first event, which was with Bowmore.
That's right.
So a shot of Bowmore in an oyster, so good.
Fantastic.
I would love to do oyster and whiskies. I would actually love to go to an oyster farm and take a bottle of whiskey with me. But, future.
It's a very Tasmanian thing, is it not?
Tasmanian thing, also Coffs Harbour.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, there's one up that way. But obviously that's for future. I think it's a really good whiskey. I prefer it with the water. I think it definitely does. You still get that smoky flavour, but it's nowhere near as full on as it was drinking it neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it does open up that spice a little bit too.
Traditionalists will absolutely despise me because I drink just about everything on the rocks. I drink that on the rocks as well. So a single big cube of ice, in there just to cool it down a little bit. I just like drinking cold drinks. And
I could definitely see that.
That works really, really well. I can imagine traditionalists would be like, no, that is drunk neat. You don't put water in it. You don't put ice in it. You drink it as it comes out of the bottle. Drink it however the hell you like. Right. I like it on the rocks.
So heading into rating, I think we're going to be fairly different. So Levi, what's the damage for a bottle of this?
So this one goes for about 190 retail. I'm not going to lie, having a look around, that is very, very, if not impossible to find, very, very hard to find. Yeah. So you're unlikely
this particular one you got because they were very long stock. They were moving into the 8.1 at the time. So the 7.1 was.
So this was purchased at a whiskey event. They had a couple of different things for Octomore. Brook Laddick was obviously doing the classic laddies and a few other bits and pieces. I got the Octomore because it was one of the last runs of the 7.1, which is their second peatiest whiskey in their entire range. So $190 if you can find it somewhere. If you can find it, buy it, on-sell it to me. I'll pay double for it. I'm
true, he will.
Simple man. But if you can't find that one, there are plenty of others in the range. As you said, the Masterclass 8.3, which is available. I don't know how much that is, but that's even peatier again. They're up to the 10 range at the moment. They've got a handful of stock left over from sort of 5 through to about 8. But yeah, that one's $190. It's not a cheap one.
It's a little bit harder to try because at the last whiskey event we were at, they were being a little bit stingy with the Octomore and not having it out on their table. You had to pay extra to go and try it, which was a little bit annoying.
I think we managed to talk our way into having one glass of the Octomore because I'd obviously bought the 7.1 previously and talked pretty openly. Yeah, well, I did.
Maybe you did. Maybe I didn't.
But it is the sort of thing that I've tucked away because they do have a limited range of it. Really quickly, aged for 5 years. We've talked about aging on this. Doesn't make a difference. You don't really need to age that because they're looking for peat. They're not looking for an age profile. So, $190. You can go first.
I can go first. You're not gonna like me. Look, for me, for $190, there's a lot of other whiskies I'd rather buy. Like, I could get myself a really nice bottle of Redbreast, which is one of my absolute favourites. I could get myself another bottle of Nant, which, as we've talked about, is one of my absolute favourites, or even a Lark, or even a Sullivan's Cove at that price point. So for me, I think what Octomore does is they just show what can be done with peat, and I think it's almost like a concept album. It's
that's a reasonable way to describe it.
It's not meant to be an everyday whiskey. It's meant to go for a particular person, and because I'm not that particular person, we're going to be doing that. So for this one episode and maybe one episode only, we're not going to do an aggregate score. We are going to be doing separate scores because, let's face it, Levi likes peat, I like peat, but not that much.
To a degree.
Quit
beating around the bush. Just give us your score. Down the barrel.
I'm giving it a 6.
That's better than I expected.
Oh, okay.
For me, I give it a 9.
Yeah.
There is a whiskey out there that I enjoy more than this that is a very, very peaty whiskey as well, which we'll probably do in a favourites episode or something like that. For me, that's a 9. Worth every cent of the $190 price point. But again, as Evan said, very, very unique. This is the definition of one that we would say, have a glass.
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to pay $190 for a bottle of that to discover that you're not really that into peat. And there is peat and there is peat, and this is peat.
And if you're going to start getting into peat, don't start here.
No, definitely
Please don't. Ardbeg, Lagavulin, Talisker, Auchentoshan.
Yep.
There are much better places to start. There was a lovely...
Even the classic lady.
Classic lady.
That's a great point.
What was that?
Don't put me on the spot here.
I can't remember the name. No, I can't remember it. There was a peated version of a whiskey that we had at Whiskey, Wine and Fire.
Ooh.
Started with a B. No?
Not okay.
No, it wasn't Beaumont. It was something different. No. If we remember it, we'll have it in our next episode. But that was actually a really nice peated expression because it balanced it really nicely with the flavour. Even starting at something like the Paul John edited that we had last episode, that's a good place to start with peat as well. Quite low, but still balanced with some lovely flavour.
Peat is an acquired taste as well. It's not the sort of thing that you're going to have for the first time and go, yes, I'm a peat man or a peat woman all the way through. That's all I ever want to drink from now on. it is something that you develop. So you want to start with something. I started with Taliskers, I moved on to Lagavulins.
Yeah.
You start to sort of build up, not a tolerance to it, but build up a particular affection for different ways that peat is done. And it's really important to note as well, this particular one, there's no beating around the bush. It's not particularly well blended in terms of getting the smokiness and the flavour profile with the peat. It is just peat. It is there to smack you in the face. If you like it, you will love it.
Yeah.
If you're not completely and fully pot committed to being into peat, it's probably going to be a hell of a lot, and it's probably going to really smack you in the face. So try a glass. For the love of God, we may not say this on any other episode, do not go out and buy a $190 bottle of Octomore in any capacity until you have tried a glass of it. If you know you like it and it's something that you want to drink every now and then go and buy a bottle of it.
In terms of if you do, it's not the worst thing to have on your shelf. Like, other whiskey drinkers will probably appreciate you having a bottle of Octomore.
I'm going to say, if you want to have one bottle on your shelf that people are going to go, wow, that guy drinks whiskey, it's probably this one.
It's a little bit of a brag having a bottle of Octomore, let's face it.
It is. There's a bit of ego to it. I mean, look, we as much as we possibly can try to strip the ego back, whether you like it or don't like it. If someone came to my house that didn't drink a lot of whiskey, I'm not going to pull that out for them because they will hate me for it and they'll never want to drink it again. I've had some mates come over that drink a little bit of whiskey and they've gone, oh, what's that about? Tried it and gone, not for me.
No.
Totally fine. It's not for everybody. And I'm not going to sit here and try and sell Evan or sell you on trying it. It's something that I like personally. If you like it as well, great. We could sit down and talk about it for another hour if you want to have a glass with me. But if you don't, I'm not going to be offended. It is a very, very different thing.
But yeah, so I'm giving it a 6. Levi's giving it a 9. I definitely recommend it with water or with ice. What would you say as a peat drinker?
If you want to be a traditionalist and drink it the way that the tweed jacket wearing crew will drink it, you have to drink it neat. That's the expectation, and that's what everybody wants you to do. We say, screw that, throw it to the wind, drink it however you like.
Yeah.
I like drinking just about everything on the rocks. This with a single big cube of ice, fantastic. And it is, because it is very, very bold, some might say harsh, you can sit on that for a very long time.
Yeah, like 3 hours or so.
Well, I would say that if you want to do it and you want to do it right, if I was in a bar, I would probably get a block of ice. I would probably get a double shot, which is going to cost you a lot.
Oh, God.
But I would sit on that for at least probably an hour, to be honest, just enjoying the flavours and drinking it down. That's a real sort of old school, smoky whiskey bar with a big chaise lounge and the smoking jacket on. I should have worn my smoking jacket for this episode.
Smoking jacket would have been great.
Have an ascot on.
Absolutely. Well, that's what we think of it. I think,
Yeah, there's not a lot more to say. Again, and we cannot stress this enough, have a glass of it before you decide.
If you like peaty whiskies, have a glass. If you don't know anything about peaty whiskies, there are much better places to start.
This is not your starting point at all. This is a real sort of hop up the ladder. But look, I love it, but it is very, very unique and it's not for everybody. So the Octomore range, if you want to try it, by all means check it out. Probably start in Brookladdick if you're going to go into that range. The other thing that we probably should talk about really, really quickly, this is one that I brought home and my wife loved the bottle, and Brookladdick
Brookladdick make great bottles.
They do make great bottles, and that's another whole part of whiskey that we've talked about before. So they're doing some pretty unique sort of bottles as well. This is something that just looks cool on your shelf, and as I said, with the Octomore especially, having one of these or one of those on your shelf is probably going to impress your whiskey drinking mates. So have a look for them. We'll probably do the Brookladdick in another episode, but yeah, it's very, very unique. It is very, very brash, and I think the concept album is a really good description of it. It is something that is for a specific type of person. So look, probably don't try a glass if you've never tried peaty whiskey before, but if you're a fan of it, the Octomore 7.1 is their peatiest of all of the whiskies that they have, with the exception of one. Give it a go, see what you think. So thank you guys for coming on this little trip to the Islay region of Scotland. Thank you very much. I know this is not your favourite whiskey, so you've really sort of indulged me with letting me do my thing on this one. What do we have coming up next time?
So next time, it's been a little while, so I think we're going to head back to Japan and try something from there. So we've got a couple. We haven't decided which one we're going with yet, but we're going to know in a couple of weeks. But other than that, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the new format. Please like, comment, subscribe. We still want to hear from you, so please let us know what we can do better. If there's a whiskey you'd love for us to try, and we will try and get that done.
we'll literally try anything.
We really will. We have no issues whatsoever.
No boundaries at all. This has been fun. Thank you again. Thank you guys again. We'll see you next time, and remember to keep your business whiskey. Thanks.